Hello, I'm APX Toycat, and this is a naturally generated pillager outpost in my Let's Play world. And although it looks a bit like a mess, it's actually a sign of a really cool new 1.18 feature that you might not have known about, and in fact that really works to protect you, but only if you know exactly how it works. And today, I wanted to help you get the brand new swamps and the brand new things coming in 1.19 in your existing worlds by telling you exactly why it is that a pillager spawning trapped in a birch prison or a woodland mansion looking like this is actually a good thing that you should be desiring and specifically going after, except it'll only works if you know how to use it, so allow me to explain with today's video. By the way, you can of course subscribe to the channel if you want to see more 1.18, 1.19 update videos. I love playing Minecraft through all of the updates, and that's why I have this update event as well. With that said though, let's jump straight into it, because Minecraft 1.18 made a really cool change to how your world's save data is stored. Now, instead of doing what they'd previously done, where any chunk you looked at was saved into memory forever and could never be lost without save file editing, they changed it so that instead they will only save chunks that you have physically been to. You need to go into a chunk with your fireworks or your cooked beef or your torches, and if you haven't physically been there in the flesh, then that chunk is not saved. It's just being rendered temporarily, but then being discarded when you're not looking at it. As an example, when I looked over here when 1.17 first came out, there was no ocean or anything like that, and that dark forest was no doubt a huge biome. However, because I'd only looked at it and I'd only casually been past it, I'm sure I've actually been closer to it than in videos. What it actually means is that this dark forest started to generate in 1.17, it's saved into those chunks, but when 1.18 came out, it changed everything. It changed what biomes generate where, and so what 1.18 realized when I loaded up the game is that this wasn't meant to be a dark forest. If you don't know, every single seed changed in this update, and so if we load up my everything seed and go to these exact coordinates, then we'll find out that it's not meant to be a roof forest at all. It's meant to be a big old ocean with some warm things here. My seed is everything, in case you're curious, and yeah, now, if we go to those exact same coordinates, it's meant to be all of a warm ocean. And so any new chunks that generate after this update know that they should be a warm ocean. They don't know what the old generation is, but they do also, now, thankfully, have an intelligent system. Oh my god, it's such a big warm ocean. Like, who wants this? Who wants this much warm ocean in their world? Anyway, so the game knows that there's just meant to be an endless sea of, well, sea, I guess. And so what it does is it intelligently tries to work out how can we smoothly go from what was there before to what should be there. We know, the game only knows how to generate the warm ocean, but it knows that something there before wouldn't blend perfectly into it. I mean, it hasn't stopped it trying in this little 4-block wide trench. And so what it does is it starts cutting off that biome as quickly as it can. As you can see, these trees didn't even generate the rest of their leaves. They're all kind of barren on this one side in a very not aesthetically pleasing line, but again, like it's better than just having a hard cutoff where there's a massive stone wall. Which, just to me, is like something I miss. Anyway, as you can see, there's a few weird examples of regular trees as well. It's there's some weird stuff happening here, but then instead of cutting straight into the warm ocean, it has a beach first, because it knows that, oh yeah, you can't have ocean go straight to the trees. You need to have some transition biome, because again, every single water feature in Minecraft tries to have a shore, or a stony shore, or a beach between it and the mainland, and so it did precisely that right here. Has the beach, has the little flat land in between, which is... Honestly, I would love to know what biome this actually is. It looks like a plains biome, but I bet it's officially an ocean. And so it's very, very weird. Look at the color of the grass and how there's a strange patch here. But yeah, if you look at it, you can see the game has worked out how to transition from the old to the new, and although it's kind of noticeable, that's arguably a good thing. In fact, it is actually very much their goal. As you can see from this woodland mansion that Olraf showed off in a recent talking about caves and cliffs thing, they confirmed that actually this is kind of intentional, because although it's not ideal to have a woodland mansion that is generating all over the air, actually they said in the video that it's better, players can come up with stories, and it's better than having a big hard wall, which is clearly a game generation bug. I mean, for instance, with this woodland mansion, you could argue that, oh, well, the villagers just kind of built their mountain in a hill, or whatever else. There's some lore explanation for this mess, and the fact that they showed it off in an official Minecraft video confirms that that is the stance Minecraft is taking. Never mind, I actually just listened to the clip, and they confirmed that they didn't want that to happen, and that they very much wanted the structures to remain intact wherever possible. So actually this is This is a failure of the system. This is not what they thought they were doing, but it exists anyway. So I guess this is actually a bug. But imagine this, but actually looking good and not having swamps with vines generating over nothing, or not having random leaves in the middle of nowhere, or all of these other issues. One of my personal favorites is this little hill that generated because the old desert and the new desert, which is actually meant to be a mesa, aren't getting along so great. Comes along with a very, very nice little cave down here, though. Anyway, as you can see, the worlds are very, very different. But how can you utilize this to the best of your ability? And allow me to get my MS Paint out to explain this best, because as you're exploring Minecraft, it's keeping track of all the chunks that you've gone through and you've explored, just like this. Okay, so imagine this is your Minecraft world. I'm very good at Microsoft Paint. Let's say this is the area that you've already discovered and looked around from 1.17 or before. Now 1.18 comes out and it's like, ooh, wow, exciting. I can load up anywhere I want now because they've got new generation, and I'll be able to find, if I go, for example, over here, I'll be able to find myself so many new mountains. That can be really tempting, and that's a great idea. Of course, you want to check out the new features. However, a lot of people then think, oh, now that I've explored all of that and I found some of the things I want, maybe I'll find some more things I want, like that weird woodland mansion that is apparently not meant to happen, or a pillager outpost if I look over here, and then if I look over here as well, maybe. And then if you do all of that, it's like, okay, now if you imagine your world as being finite, for now we'll just imagine the black borders as being the edge of the travelable distance. It's like, okay, now you've got most of your world being explored, and then 1.19 comes out. And 1.19 comes out, and it's like, okay, well now there's a new color of terrain, because as we know, what the wild update is going to be changing the underground by adding the deep dark, the warden, they're all amazing features, and it's also going to be changing the above ground with the mangrove swamp, as well as the changes to the birch forest, and whatever else they decide to add to that update. And now you want to look for the brand new 1.19 features, and so you look over here, and you don't find the mangrove you're looking for, and so you look over here, but then there's no deep dark feature, and then you look over here, and all of a sudden you've made the mistake that I made in the early days of my world, in the console days, and all of your world basically is explored in current updates. And this is a real problem when 1.20 comes out, or 1.25, or whatever it is, because 1.25 comes out, and you want to check out the new, dragon roost biome, or you want to see the volcanoes, but the problem is only this area is left to explore. It's a whole problem, and all of this can be avoided with a few simple strategies. The easiest one that everyone knows they advocate is just explore in one direction for every update. So if when 1.18 comes out, this is your existing world right here, 1.18 comes out, only explore, for example, this direction. Boom, easy. Now what you can do when 1.19 comes out is you can explore this direction, and then when 1.20 comes out, you can explore this direction, and so on and so forth. You can do this endlessly. But what I actually recommend now that I've done it, and it's had some very positive results, is because you don't have to travel thousands of blocks just to explore new content. What if instead of exploring all the way in one direction by traveling physically, what if you use the Nether and you hop out of a portal just over here? You can link these via little Nether portals. So we'll just, we'll imagine there's a portal there, and there's a portal there. The Nether is going to be entirely explored in between, but otherwise this is all unexplored territory, and so as a result, you can explore this way as far as you like, even places that aren't realistically explorable, and it doesn't matter because when 1.19 comes out, you know that you can still find new mangroves and deep docks, etc. right over here, pretty close to your existing Minecraft world over here. Wow, that is sure pretty wonderful, right? And so yeah, that is my little recommendation that I want to make. Be very careful with where you explore, and use the Nether to travel far distances, and then do some exploration there if you get the real hankering for it, because all of these chunks around your main world, once they're explored, you can't unexplore them. You can't delete them and start again. Minecraft is very unlikely to ever add that as a feature, and so yeah, as a result, try to avoid widening it unless you really, really have to, or there's something you absolutely have to have by your base, whether that's amethyst geodes, the deep dark, whatever else, but you don't need to have, as an example, a brand new mountain right over here. If you just want the blocks from it, find your new mountain over here by making a little Nether portal, which is in fact my plan. Wait, it's a very, very big Nether portal. This is my plan, this is my strategy, and now you know. And so yeah, one of the things that I did in 1.17 is I traveled all the way out to 3,000 blocks, 3,700 to be precise, and I started looking for geodes, as well as the remnants of a dripstone cave, as well as copper ore, but I was very, I was very careful not to explore backwards towards 3,000 blocks. now what I can do after this update is I can fly that way, and you can see that there's some weird cutoffs for the terrain where, like, this clearly probably wasn't meant to be a coastal village, or, like, you know, looking around a lot of this, it doesn't make too much sense. And then you start to see things like, oh, there's that pillager outpost that isn't meant to be broken, but still kind of is. You start to see things like, oh, what's this? This is some... Wait, actually, do you see that? That's a desert temple just floating on the water. Wait. Yep, no, this is for real. Is it meant to be for real? That's a question I don't know if I have the answer to. But you ever thought, what if a desert temple could float? Glad Minecraft is finally answering that question. The answer is free loot. Anyway, so yeah, it's pretty cool to be able to see, like, old world hitting new world in ways like this. Yeah, it also means I can find, for instance, what we used to call a shattered savanna mountain, a windswept savanna maybe now. It means you can find these super cool new biomes, this new terrain, and indeed the benefits that come with it. Lots more emerald ore, etc, 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 in your existing worlds. And so this means you can access features, like I mentioned, the mangrove swamps, etc, eventually from not too far away from your world. But it also means you get something which I think is beautiful, which is this clash of new and old. I've always liked this because it's like a permanent part of my Let's Play world, but I love to see weird clashes. I mean, obviously this is why I do on Seed Sunday as well, but just like, it's so interesting to see terrain hitting each other in ways that it probably isn't supposed to. And yeah, the way it's kind of like struggling around here is beautiful in its own way. Obviously, there is a great argument to be made that, like, no, Minecraft world should look cohesive and realistic and all the other things that you might want at the end of the word if. But the truth is, I think there is a beauty in this generation which they've spent years and years working on and perfecting, and it's beautiful to see old next to new. It's beautiful to see weird next to perfect, and apparently it's also interesting to see these floating desert temples, which are just a fact of life now, maybe? This one has a dead bush inside of it. Long story short, this video is just here to remind you that be careful when you explore, because Minecraft is keeping track of where you explore, when you explore, and how you explore. And it's very useful if you know how to use it correctly. And I feel like every update, it's important to say this, because you're going to be tempted to just be like, nah, I'm just going to fly as far as I can, or I'm going to walk as far as I can, I'm going to get in a boat go as far as I can. But if you do that, by the way, now we're going back to terrain from 2015. If you do that, you start to miss on some of the most interesting things in the world, like this, for example, which, I mean, just look at this. How can you not want this snowy taiga biome right next to this mesa biome, which is old style mesa when console didn't have the power to generate up to mountains. So the highest mountains you could get in a mesa were like 70 blocks. They're ugly and they're terrible, and at the time I hated them, but it's cool to have a remnant of that in your world. And yeah, with this point, I'm just with this video, I'm trying to make the point that sometimes ugly is beautiful, and sometimes beautiful is ugly. And that's why I made this video, because I know the comments down below are going to be absolutely beautiful, if you know what I'm saying. And I know that in your hearts, you're all actually very ugly people, and it's fine that you say such beautiful things on the internet. But speaking of things that are beautiful, the subscribe button is right there. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you probably tomorrow. Maybe not. I mean, probably though, but just maybe not. Look at this little mesa biome right here, for example. I took all the red sand out of it. It was fun. I enjoyed doing so. Should make my own little mesa soon. Cover plains in red sand. Anyway, yeah, see you next time. Goodbye.